Hi everyone, it's Christina from Blossom and Root. I had a little bit of time today between finishing our homeschool day and starting the second part of my work day, and I wanted to come in and answer a question that I've been getting a lot, as many people around this time of year are starting to think about what curricula they want to use next year, and that is, what are we using for math? Are we still using RightStart? And if we're not, what did we switch to? So that's what I'm going to answer for you in this video today. The reason I moved away from RightStart for my youngest is because we hit that point in level C, if you're familiar with RightStart, where you start to do a lot of geometry through drawing, and it integrates a lot of great math concepts into that, but the emphasis is on drawing a lot of lines and precise shapes with tools and the geometry of those lines and shapes. It's a wonderful part of the program. It's actually one of the things my oldest daughter loved the most when we did RightStart with her. But my youngest daughter did not feel the same way, and she had a lot of frustration with the fine motor control required to hold the drawing tools in one hand and to draw a line with the other hand. And whenever she would struggle with that, she would get frustrated because she wanted it to be perfect, and she would erase and start over and erase and start over until we had holes in our paper, and she was really frustrated. And I felt like in the midst of all that, we were losing the thread with the math part. And I tried for several weeks to make it work because my oldest had enjoyed it so much. But after a few weeks of just frustration and feeling like we were getting really far behind in math itself because we were hyper-focusing on the lines, I decided maybe we needed to look for a different program for her. And that maybe RightStart wasn't as good a fit for her as it was for those first many years that we used it, when it was a fantastic fit for her. Every child is different. Every child goes through different phases. So it's perfectly okay, even if you've been using a program for a long time, to feel like you need to shift or pivot. Kate Snow had sent me her beautiful program, Math with Confidence, first grade, several years ago to look over so that I could think about it in terms of what to recommend to our families that ask what should they use for math when they're using our curriculum. And I just loved it. And so I knew in the back of my mind that I had always really liked the look of Math with Confidence. I just didn't need it at the time because we were really happy with RightStart. So when it came time to switch, I knew that's what I wanted to use. This was about 3/4 of the way through Bryce's third grade year. And I knew there were some things that we had not yet covered in RightStart that she was going to need to be familiar with to switch, because RightStart emphasizes different skills at a different pace. It goes deeper in some things, and it doesn't go as deep into other things as other math programs do. So at the time, they only had Math with Confidence level 2, up to level 2 out. So I bought level 2, and I took the sections that I thought she really needed out for us to do for the next few months while we waited for level 3 to come out, and we just used it as a period to get accustomed to the program, to get familiar with some concepts that were new to her, or to build up some skills that she hadn't built up quite so much with RightStart yet. And I loved it. And so I reached out to Kate Snow and I told her, I really am enjoying your program. Thank you so much again for sending me level 1 to look at all those years ago. And she offered to send me the level 3 that was coming out that June as a review copy. So I got this curricula in exchange for my honest opinion, which I am giving you here. I was going to wait till the end of the school year, but I'm getting this question a lot right now, and I really feel like it's a good time to talk to you about it. So let's talk about all the things I love about Math with Confidence and why it has worked so well for us. One of the things I love the most about Math with Confidence is that the lessons are short and sweet. The teaching part that we do together is much shorter than what RightStart had been for us in level C. In prior levels, it was a bit shorter, but level C, things kind of got longer and more complex. So it was taking us a lot longer to get through the lessons in RightStart. But with Math with Confidence, the teaching part that I do with her, we are done. Sometimes it's really fast and it takes 3 to 5 minutes. And sometimes it takes us up to 10 or 15 minutes if she's got a game she's really loving and she wants to repeat it multiple times, which happens a lot because she really likes the games. Or if there's a concept she needs a little bit more help with. So that's pretty short. Like, I can do 5 to 15 minutes, no problem. That RightStart was getting to be kind of a problem because I was taking us a really long time some days. And with 2 kids, you know how that can be. So short and sweet. And then I go over really quickly what her independent pages look like with her, which is usually 2 pages, sometimes only 1 in the level 3 level. We go over it together, so I'm sure she understands the instructions. And then she goes off into a quiet room by herself and she does those. When she's finished, she comes back and we look over them together. And if there's any mistakes, we go over the mistake together and fix it together and figure out what might have happened. But all in all, math only takes us about 30 minutes a day now. Takes me about, like I said, 5 to 15 minutes, and takes her, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, I'd say, to do her pages on her own. So that's the first thing I love so much about Math with Confidence. The second thing is that it incorporates a lot of games, which Bryce really enjoys, my youngest really enjoys. And they're really simple games. Once you know the idea behind a lot of them, you'll see them come up several times throughout the curriculum. So you don't have to keep learning new complicated games constantly. And the games don't require very many materials. I would say most of the games, with some exceptions, they require a deck or 2 of cards, dice, and some counters. And that's like most of the time what we use for the games. So that's great. It keeps our math cart to a nice minimal amount of things to keep track of and to clean up. So that's nice too. I love the books themselves. The teaching guide is really, really easy to follow. I don't get lost trying to follow along while I'm speaking to her or teaching the lesson to her. It's really written in a clear and succinct way, a scripted way, but not too scripted, if that makes sense. And I also love that the student books there's not too many problems on each page. It doesn't seem like an overwhelming amount to Bryce on an actual page. When there's a lot of problems squished onto one page, it can be a bit overwhelming for her. And it's colorful, which she really loves. She's very visual and she likes how colorful the curriculum is. I also love that Math with Confidence integrates regular review. Sometimes with RightStart, I felt like we would get something down really solid, and then a few months later, we would circle back around to it and she wouldn't remember what we had learned sometimes. But Math with Confidence builds in regular review, spirals through that review frequently, so she doesn't ever really lose those skills, and I love that so much. So in general, the first page in the student notebook is a page you do with them. So that's where your lesson activities are, and you'll do things like play a game, you'll go through some problems together. A lot of times Kate Snow will build in these other activities that you do to bring the concept to life for the child. And I really, really enjoy that first page so much with her, and it helps me kind of put a pin on things, how she's doing, what she's getting, what she's not getting. So that's the first page. And then they usually have a page after that that's practicing the skill that you worked on in the activities you did together. So that first page is like reinforcing what you did together in the activities. And then if there's a second page, which there usually is, but if there's a second page, it's reviewing all the concepts that you've learned throughout the year. And it's, not all at once, but it spirals back around through them frequently. So, we're not working on money right now, but money still shows up in the review pages, or we're not working on, specific multiplication tables, but they come back through in the review page, or adding and subtracting, things like that. So we're always reviewing concepts we've already covered, which I feel like really has helped with any of that sliding back that we used to do sometimes with RightStart. Even though RightStart did integrate some cyclical review, it wasn't as thorough, I feel, as Math with Confidence, which works really well for my child. Now, different children do better with different kinds of programs. Some children do better with the mastery approach where you're not doing that spiraling back and forth. But my youngest daughter, really benefits from it. So I'm really glad that Math with Confidence integrates that constantly. It's a fantastic curriculum. The enrichment lessons are wonderful at the end of each section. I feel like it's hard enough, but not overwhelmingly hard. I feel like if I had just insisted that we find a level 4 program or a 4th grade program and skipped Math with Confidence to do something just because it was a level 4 program, I feel like that might have been a big mistake, because there are a lot of things that we've covered in this level of Math with Confidence that she had not been exposed to, at least not at this depth. And I feel like she has such a solid understanding of those concepts now, of multiplication and division and adding and subtracting money and adding and subtracting bigger numbers and in shapes even. And I feel like she's just got such confidence, Math with Confidence. She's got such confidence in her skills now, and she loves math again. And that's huge to me. So long story short, to wrap this up, we switched from RightStart to Math with Confidence about a year ago, toward the end of her 3rd grade year. It did require a step back in levels because they had not developed the level 4 level yet, but we did already buy it on pre-sale. I can't wait to get it. And I feel like that was the absolute right decision for her. So I hope this video is helpful to anybody who's looking for a curriculum that will work for their child next year for math. I would definitely recommend Math with Confidence very confidently to most homeschooling families. Of course, that depends on your individual learner, where they're at. Unfortunately, yes, you do have the block of them only having level 4 coming out this summer, so they haven't developed those higher levels yet. I know she has plans to, but it's a wonderful program. Again, we received this particular level for free in exchange for my review, but these are all my personal opinions about the program. There was no pressure at all for me to say specific things. This is all my own personal opinion, and I think it's a wonderful program and highly recommend it. And I'm really glad we made that switch. I hope you are having a beautiful day. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful evening.